evolution of how that got started here, what we're doing currently, and some of the things that we're hoping to do in the future with the program in our alumni population. Just a quick little kind of introduction of myself. I have a Master's of Science in Education degree, actually with a focus in College Student Services Administration. My background is actually very focused in student affairs with a little bit over 5 years of career development experience. I have past positions as assistant directors of Career Center, focused on working one-on-one with students and alumni, as well as on employer outreach. And this is kind of my first foray specifically here at RPI into a very focused alumni position, but have really enjoyed that connection with a lot of it being very similar crossover work. A little bit of background on Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, or RPI, as we often call it here. It was established in 1824. We are actually the oldest technological institute in the Western Hemisphere. It's a point of pride for us here. We have about 5,700 undergrads and support around 1,100 resident graduate students with a student-faculty ratio of 15:1 and a gender breakdown of around 70% male and 31% female. That is definitely an area that we are looking to expand upon and have been working very hard on. And RPI's slogan is, "Why not change the world?" It's something that students are asked from the very first day they get here to campus, throughout their time here and then beyond as we work with our alumni populations. A big focus for us is helping you make that impact on the world however you feel that that calling comes to you. And that does drive quite a bit of our alumni programming. So in order to kind of understand the evolution of my position specifically here in Alumni Relations, as well as kind of the evolution of where we are with our Alumni Career Services program, I thought it was really important to just spend a little bit of time and conceptualize the breakdown of Alumni Relations here and then our Rensselaer Alumni Association Board, or RAA Board as we call it. So here at Alumni Relations, we are housed under our Division of Institute Advancement, and we have 13 full-time staff members, along with several administrative assistants who support our programs. We're kind of broken up into 3 kind of cluster areas: our on-campus programming, which is our reunion and homecoming, athletic and affinities, which includes our Greeks, career services, and then student and young alumni programming, which includes an actual student organization that we support, and I'll talk a little bit about later as it involves career services. Then we have our regional area. So we have 2 individuals who actually travel significantly and are supporting our regional chapters and their initiatives, and then our communications, which includes all of our print work and brochures, as well as online alumni newsletters and our website and resources, etc., online for alumni. We also have our Rensselaer Alumni Association Board, which is actually run by the Assistant Vice President for Alumni Relations and Annual Fund, Jeff Shantz. He serves as Executive Director. And there is a little bit of a kind of cross-collaboration between Alumni Relations and the RA Board, specifically when it comes to the work groups listed there below. But they have at any one time approximately 30 members, and they meet 3 times in a year, in February, May, and October here at RPI. And those are some great times to really collaborate with the RA Board as they do endow specific initiatives when it comes to alumni programming and focus areas. And those typically break down into those 4, as we call them, the 4 C's: career, chapter, corporate, and campaign. And so I work very closely with the career work group. I have a counterpart within the board who kind of serves as the lead of that work group. She and I have regular conference calls. We look to plan initiatives and outcomes that we'd like to see the work group kind of be working on between meetings. Recognizing that they are a volunteer group, they can really do some great work, and I really look to them to be my kind of brand champions in really getting the outreach directly to alumni when it comes to career programming. The evolution of career programming here at RPI is, an interesting one. It has not been around for very long, but there were components in place for a while. In the past 2 years, we've really kind of seen an intentional focus of that programming. So we have our on-campus Center for Career and Professional Development, or CCPD, as we call it. We love our acronyms. And they do a wonderful job with our on-campus students, particularly when it comes to, that entry level, that first position, up until about a year out. They really, after that, do not have the resources or the manpower to support our almost 100,000 alumni. And for many years, there really was not anything of any sort of assistance or intentional programming for our alumni. We also, did have some regional programs and programming that had a little bit of a career component in the past. Maybe some very specific networking mixers. And out of that came a group of alumni who really were interested in driving the connections and networking of alumni. And they called themselves the Rensselaer Alumni Network, or RAN. So that is a student-run, or excuse me, not student, alumni-run group who put on regional programs that are very networking focused. And they are still around today, and I will talk a little bit about them more later. In 2013, the Rensselaer Alumni Association, really looking to see what areas they'd like to be involved in collaboration with Alumni Relations, put out an alumni attitude survey. And from that, one of the biggest knocks that Alumni Relations and the RIA board got from the general alumni population was that there really wasn't any career support or outreach or any programming for alumni past about that 1-year mark with the on-campus career center. So from that was the creation of the specifically career and professional development work group within the RIA. And that group of alumni went to task on doing benchmarking against other institutions and really came to the consensus that RPI was lagging behind a little bit, particularly as we've all seen alumni career services really kind of come to the forefront in the conversation of how are we supporting our alumni. And from that, they decided to endow money specifically for the creation of alumni career services and career programming for alumni. And so my position was created here in Alumni Relations specifically for that. They took a position that was more focused on volunteers and morphed it into the position I currently hold, which was a focus for the alumni career services. I started in May 2014, and in December of 2014, we launched the initial phase of our Rensselaer Alumni Career Services program. One thing I really would say that has really helped from my start point in May 2014 through the launch, and now here we are at May 2016, is that when I hit the ground, I really made sure that we created, established, and held to a strategic plan. Something that had initial phases, benchmarking, and that was really supported by the RAA board and my work group. And I think that has really helped keep the focus and the momentum as we move forward. So now, as we are into our second year with Alumni Career Services program, my focus really are continuing the growth as it applies to our strategic plan. What are our next needs that alumni are presenting with how can we make sure that we're connecting with them. Career services is a large umbrella term. There are a lot of needs and unique needs under that based upon the individual, how long they've been out of school, how much experience they have, even what industry specifically they're in. And so being a one-woman shop here at RPI, one of my biggest focuses is really leveraging our kind of powerful force of the alumni network, really pushing the message that this is by alumni, for alumni, and then really putting the call out there that alumni should be reaching out to each other, mentoring each other, fostering those connections, and really driving the success of all. And that has been something that the RAA board and my work group has really gotten behind as well as a key point of messaging for us. So a little bit of a breakdown of what we launched with in December of 2014. Rensselaer Alumni Connect is our online networking platform, which I will go into a little bit more detail later on. It was kind of our flagship component of the launch. It was the first career platform specifically and exclusively for alumni, and that was something that was very important in my messaging and was also conveyed by my RAA work group counterparts as well, that alumni should feel that this was something that was done exclusively for them, because that had not really been done in the past. Other components, are really focused employer relations with the outreach, making sure that companies and corporations, both locally and nationally, now knew that there was a way to directly connect with alumni, while also communicating with our on-campus career center to make sure that we were sharing jobs and positions where they needed to go. Job Tip enabled us to have an online web form that allows alumni to share if they know that their company is hiring. So many times we hear people say, oh yeah, I know my company is hiring. I'm not quite sure who to get that information to. And here was a way for us to really organically connect that information and then allow me to go and make those connections to continue to receive opportunities and information to share with our alumni community. We also have career resources on our website. Anything from I'm looking to redo my resume, I'm changing industries, how can I do that? Any of that information we provide for alumni. I also work one-on-one with alumni in terms of, I think most of the conversations revolve around industry change, or I'm looking to make that next move. Maybe I've been a middle manager. What are some ways I could gain some skill and make those next steps into a higher position? We also do a lot of career communications through newsletter. We have a dedicated alumni email, which is where I encourage a lot of our companies who are looking to post jobs to communicate. We have a LinkedIn group, and we also have a specific Twitter handle. Underneath our program, the Alumni Career Services program, we did also house the Rensselaer Alumni Network, which, as I mentioned, is our alumni-run group who does very specific networking programming regionally and virtually. So I work closely with them. And then we have, really tried to do a little bit more of an intentional career connection in our regional events. That includes me traveling on occasion, providing brochures and information at regional events, and a little bit more of a focus on the networking and connections that can be made when meeting people within your specific region. So since our launch, we have made some additions, and are looking to strategically add on as we continue to move forward. We have an established relationship or partnership now with Human Resources, which allows our alumni to utilize user licenses to access lynda.com. For those who don't know, lynda.com is kind of this microcosm of small workshops and videos for establishing skills in areas like software. Somebody who maybe has never used Photoshop can go onto lynda.com, watch a few webinar series, and really be able to actually go in and functionally use Photoshop. So our alumni are able to do that free of charge. And then we also have a virtual classroom series through Human Resources with some very specific focused topics. We recently did one on how to lead a motivational workplace. So we focused on our middle managers or our mid-level managers who are looking for some more successful ways to run a team, to be a better leader, to enhance their skill. And those are the sorts of things that we run through our virtual classroom series. We've also established a business school mentoring collaboration Our Lally School for Business does very specific one-on-one mentoring, and we are helping to bridge those connections, utilizing our connections to outreach to alumni who might be great kind of collaborators within that. And then also our on-campus career center, the CCPD, we continue to evolve our partnership. Open communication with the CCPD is crucial. I am constantly emailing back and forth with the director there, connecting employers, making sure that they're aware that if they're looking to connect specifically with alumni, I'm the person they really need to be talking to. But if they're looking for students or they have a lot of co-op opportunities, I'm directly connecting them and engaging them with our director, making sure that that go-between is really nice and fluid, but also easily understood by our outside companies who might not recognize or understand the structure of myself being here in Alumni Relations and the CCPD being within the Student Affairs Division. So some of our future plans, we actually are currently going through a branding redesign. We are overhauling our brochure and some mailers, really looking to have a visual presence, something that, with a glance, alumni would recognize and understand that that is very specifically within the Alumni Career Services program, while still falling within our RPI branding and colors, etc. A big buzzword for us currently here in the office is mentoring, and I know this is a big buzzword around the country as well. And how are we looking to really support our alumni in a mentoring role? We focus on the networking, but are we, going to be that catalyst to really create and develop and foster some very successful mentoring and mentor-mentee relationships? Headhunter and recruiter partnerships, thought leaders is an area of interest, particularly within alumni relations. What we've seen is that alumni are really interested in networking, but they're interested in networking around specific topics, anything from something very industry related to something very research or technology related that applies to what they're doing within their careers, that could connect them to other individuals who are doing similar work or similar research. And so we are looking to establish almost like a conversation forum for alumni in that regard. And then also, just in our wheelhouse or in our thoughts is how do we enhance our regional focus and our connections within chapters, recognizing that we really can't be everything for everyone at all at once, and that a lot of our alumni look to their regional chapters for that first round of support and connection. So a little bit more of a deep dive into Rensselaer Alumni Connect, which is our alumni networking platform. It is run through a United Kingdom company called Graduate. They were a startup, and we signed on with them. Was a really exciting time in terms of this platform being new and what it could do for us in terms of that alumni exclusive area that we could direct alumni to. So why did we choose a networking platform as something that was a component of our career services? And I think that definitely goes back to what I mentioned before, is that Rensselaer alumni really didn't have any sort of landing area or place that was alumni exclusive, where they could log in and see alumni exclusive job postings that were more experienced than the entry-level ones you would see through our Career Center. There was no real conversation forum or ability to network specifically with alumni beyond LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a wonderful place, but it is definitely something that our alumni often find overwhelming. And so Rensselaer Alumni Connect allows them to log in, access this community of verified and vetted alumni who are all there really for the same thing and the same mindset, and that is to make connections and to have conversations and to also provide help to each other, be it some insight or fellow connections in an industry. So in terms of our kind of walkthrough of how we got to Rensselaer Alumni Connect through Graduate, when I first started and we established our strategic plan, we were looking for that third-party platform. I spent a lot of time on LinkedIn and discussion boards myself, talking with coworkers or peers from other institutions, and Graduate was actually recommended to me that way. From there, I demoed Graduate and then actually established, during the summer of 2014, 3 or 4 virtual demos for our alumni board to access and be a part of. We chose to do multiple ones just based upon people's busy schedules, wanting to make sure we connected with as many of our RA board members as possible, so that everyone was on board and that we had that buy-in. Because one of the biggest things when initiating a program launch is that you want those who are involved to really have that buy-in and that excitement, and that was definitely key for us. When we finally decided to go with Graduate and launch Rensselaer Alumni Connect, one of the key areas of success that I was very excited about and very happy that we leveraged very successfully was that our RA board became, as I called them, my social media champions. I put together toolkits that had Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn posting examples with the wording already there, the links already in place, and asked the RA board to really serve as kind of the outreach hub and center with recommendations on when to post, what to post, to retweet, to share. And that really was a very unique and great way that we got the word out organically to alumni, recognizing that we can email as many times as possible. That doesn't guarantee that everyone will read what we're sending out, and that social media is really that place to grow a lot of excitement and to really get some more buy-in from alumni. Since our launch, we've seen continued growth within our platform. I think we are engaging right around 2,000 alumni currently within our platform, and we average around 170 specific alumni jobs from a variety of organizations and corporations, all with a higher experience level than that which you would see for our students. In that area that we continue to talk about that's evolving is what are alumni looking for, what are they wanting, beyond the networking and the mentoring. And one area, as I mentioned earlier, that we're seeing within Rensselaer Alumni Connect is that beyond just the specific one-on-one networking, alumni are looking to have very focused conversations and to continue those connections on topics of interest within their career, but also beyond into what they're actually doing and actually researching. And we are utilizing Rensselaer Alumni Connect as that area, particularly as LinkedIn has begun to move away from their group support. They recently altered how groups were functioning within the website, and we found that alumni are struggling to both find the groups now and also use them successfully. So Rensselaer Alumni Connect has really been great for us in terms of really pushing that conversation to that platform and advertising it as more than just a job board or more than just a way to find one or two connections. And we hope to continue to evolve that as well. Another topic of conversation that I have often with my RAA work group is our service and support of graduate students. This is a hot topic for us here on RPI's campus, and I'm also aware that it is also a hot topic on other institutions as well, with where do graduate students fit in the kind of grand scheme of support and services. They are more experienced than our undergraduate students, in their ability as well as what their hopes are coming out of graduation. They also have some very unique needs, particularly when identifying whether they're going to go into industry or academia. And those are definitely different or in need of different resources and different support. So here at RPI, graduate students were expressing similar struggles as our alumni, and that our CCPD was not really able to support them or have resources that were directly relevant to them. So a very key thing for us was to hear more directly from graduate students to understand more on a one-on-one basis what it was that they needed. So we actually have a graduate council member who sits on our RAA board along with several other student leaders, and they have been really, really important and instrumental in continuing the conversation of how can alumni relations and career programming be of support to graduate students, and having that open communication channel. And so what we have found is that in terms of job postings, opportunities, networking, that alumni relations and alumni career resources are more in line with what graduate students are looking for. So I do work with graduate students one-on-one when it comes particularly to their interest and want to connect with alumni to make those networking connections, looking for connections specifically within different companies or at different schools and different industries. But when it comes to alumni or graduate students who are looking for maybe help with a resume or a cover letter or interviewing skills, they are actually better served by our CCPD. So there's a little bit of a kind of breakdown or discrepancy when it comes to which needs or services serviced by which offices. But that is something that the CCPD and I have really established as a great two-way communication and partnership, simply based upon what the graduate student is presenting as their need or what they're looking for. So there are many, many emails that do go back and forth if a graduate student enters the CCPD office and says they're looking for some opportunities or to make some connections. They will be sent to me, and if I have graduate students who reach out to me and they're looking for some resume support or interviewing skill support and development, I make sure that I connect them and introduce them to the CCPD. It's definitely an area of growth for us. Both offices recognize that we need to kind of establish a little bit more of a landing page for graduate students on websites with an explanation of where they should be going and how best to support them. So it is a goal of ours to continue to really expand what we can do for graduate students. But for the time being, this is how we are best able to really support that population with those very unique needs. And then another area of kind of unique affinity or connections is our student and corporate connections. This is an area of focus for us here at RPI and has been and will continue to be. Really, again, recognizing the power of our Rensselaer Alumni Network. We have so many alumni who come back to campus as recruiters at our career fairs or who will reach out and say, hey, my company's hiring. I think these would be great opportunities for our students. How do we really take that information and that sourcing and that power and utilize it and leverage it to the best ability for both our students here on campus and also our alumni within industry and corporations. So we do have regional corporate events. These often are at a specific company in a specific area. We've done these with GE, ExxonMobil, etc. And they are very successful, very popular for individuals who attend. And we do try and also send students to these corporate events, very specifically our red and white students who are part of our red and white student organization. I actually serve as their advisor, so it is a very nice kind of crossover working in the career programming, but also having a group of students who can really work as ambassadors to the community and to the campus. So our Red and White students were established in 1995. They are an 80-member organization. They do a lot of on-campus engagement and programming with our current students, but they also are sent to very high-level events, including regional corporate events, events with the president or guest speakers, and they really kind of serve as that example to our alumni of what the current RPI student is. And we have alumni who will go to a regional event who might not have been back in 20, 25, 30 years. To be able to put in front of them these very polished and successful and engaged students to show what RPI students are capable of and are doing now. It's a really unique and great experience for both the students as well as the alumni. So recognizing that there was a gap in the connection between alumni working within corporations and our current students beyond the connection they might make at a career fair or a recruiting event on campus, we were really looking to find how we could build that legacy of alumni and corporate success. And so within the Red and White Student Organization, we established a corporate relations committee. And they were really tasked with just that. How do you, build the bridge between our current students and alumni working in specific companies? And they have been working on events and intentional programming for about the last year and a half, and I've had some pretty phenomenal success. In fact, the students from Red and White will actually be presenting on their success at CASE ASAP in Atlanta in August. They were selected to present based upon this corporate relations committee and the events that they have had. So what their big focus on is hosting and holding networking events, but rather than having a focus on recruiters, the focus is on bringing alumni back to serve as that connection within the company. So we've had Regeneron here, we've had P&G, we've had Corning, and several others. Judd Law will be coming and joining us in the fall. And what these networking events end up being is, we encourage companies to bring 15 to 20 alumni back, however many feasibly, based upon travel and distance, et cetera, that they can bring back. And then we really leverage our connection and our visibility here on campus to connect specifically with majors and schools, specific programs that the company is really interested in connecting with within our student population. We average around 80 students at each networking event, and we average around 15 to 20 alumni who attend and serve as that connection. And what it really does for the students is gives them a real-world example of a former RPI student who went on to success and engagement at a specific corporation. And what it does for the corporation is really highlight the level of students that we have here at RPI. We've had many students who have received internship or co-op offers through these networking mixers, and also full-time opportunities as well. We also, within the Corporate Relations Committee, have a focus on smaller events, and these are called Courses with Alumni. So what we've also found, too, is that while some of our corporations and companies are very interested in a large-scale networking event with students and alumni, we also have some alumni who, maybe their company isn't interested in a large scale, or it's just not feasible or sustainable, or distance-wise is just not something that we here on campus can support, or the company is not willing to support. but we have alumni who are interested in engaging specifically with students. Was kind of the birthplace of corporate or courses with alumni. So this is typically a small sit-down dinner, 1 to 2 alumni with 10 to 12 students who are handpicked based upon major and interest level. Typically, we start with our red and white students, and then we will move into other students and put out a call for those who are interested in connecting specifically with alumni with experience in a specific industry. These two, we've seen phenomenal success with alumni. They love it. It's a very unique and kind of nice setting for 1 to 2 individuals to make some very deep and meaningful and impactful connections with students that we see continue after the dinner. Business cards, resumes are handed back and forth. And we have multiple students who have, again, received internships or co-op offers from attending a Courses with Alumni dinner. And we have a list of alumni who, when they are looking to come back to campus or will be in the area, will send us an email and say, could we set up a dinner? I'd love to connect with some more students and really have that experience. So we continue to utilize this and leverage this as a great programming for our students, but also for our alumni to have that impact, to have those career conversations, and to really be that gateway for our students into some success within some corporations and companies. And that really kind of wraps up those kind of specific areas of interest. At this time, I would love to take questions on anything that I didn't touch on or, would love to have anything expanded on.
Kailah, thank you so much for this presentation. This was really a wonderful snapshot of what the organization is doing and the kind of growth that you've seen just over the last few years. I have a quick question for you about how students would be engaging with alumni if they wanted to reach out to someone in their industry of interest. So would a student go ahead and log on to Alumni Connect? Would they be contacting a staffer first? Is there a separate directory that they would use, or would they use all three?
Oh, that's a great question. Kind of going off of Rensselaer Alumni Connect being very alumni exclusive, that is a choice that we've continued to uphold, both myself and the RAA board. But what we do allow is students within their last semester before graduation. So our graduating seniors in 2016, as of January, they were allowed to join Rensselaer Alumni Connect and really start to make some intentional connections and networking and mentoring, et cetera. For our students who are not in their graduating year, we work with them on a one-on-one basis. So students are asked to reach out to me. I will have a conversation with them about what they're looking for and what their needs are. And based upon that, we'll make recommendations on, why don't you first try LinkedIn? Let's talk a little bit about how you could intentionally use LinkedIn as that networking tool. And if it's a very specific connection they're looking to make, I will reach out on their behalf, as our privacy policies do not allow me to share direct connections with students. But I often find that, reaching out on a student's behalf, a significant number of alumni are more than happy to reach back out and have those conversations. It's just a matter of really making sure that we make that initial connection for them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then I think I just have one other question for you. So you mentioned a form that you have on the website where alumni can enter information if they know that their company is hiring. And it sounded like you were saying that this could be an alum who's not necessarily a hiring manager themselves, but just happens to know of openings. Have you seen strong response to that? And could you tell me a little bit about what the process would be and maybe how much time is involved in touching base with that alum and trying to evaluate how that position would fit into recruiting at RPI?
Absolutely. So yes, it is a standing form on our website, called Job Tip here at RPI. Um, it was really an idea or a brainchild, recognizing that I talk a lot with employers, and sometimes that hiring manager has the RPI connection because they are an alum. But more times than not, we have alumni who know their company is hiring and know of awesome opportunities, but aren't the one in charge of making that connection. But they might have some information, they might know who to go to. And so what that form is really for is for those connections or those kind of hints or arrows pointing to, my company's hiring, you should reach out to them. So the process is I'll receive the form. From there, based upon whether the alum is a hiring manager or not. If they're not, I will reach back out, thank them for their time, let them know that I'll be following up with their human resources department. If they have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I will then turn around and make a connection with the human resources department based simply upon the information that I have been provided by the alum. If it's an email, if it's a name, I'll start there. If it's a phone number, I will call. And that's so much of what employer relations is about within career services, is just providing that information and making that connection, and then allowing the company to do with it what they will. We provide postings for companies free of charge. Why wouldn't you want to share with Rensselaer alumni your opportunity? And for some companies, that's a little bit more of explaining who RPI alumni are. Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute isn't as well as Caltech is in terms of, nationwide knowledge. So sometimes that's what companies are looking for, is a little bit more background about who RPI alumni are. But I do find success, even if it's because it is a great flow of information, helps me find areas or companies that I might not have thought of or might haven't been able to touch upon yet.
Thanks so much, Kailah. That was great. We are so grateful for your time today. Thank you again for sharing your time, your expertise, and your insights with us. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.